All right. I'd like to, wherever you guys are streaming from, whether you're there on Facebook, whether you're here on Zoom, whether you're watching the replay, whatever it is, I'd like to introduce a friend of mine and somebody who has become quite a successful provider. If you're in the greater Tucson, Arizona area and you're looking for concierge care, this is the guy to go to. He's was introduced to me. I don't know how long ago did you get introduced to StemWave? Maybe like a year ago.
Yeah, about that, yeah. And
About a
it's
year
only
ago.
through like the social media channels.
Through social media, and lo and behold, I kept receiving video after video after video, and our team keeps sending us these videos. They're like, man, we've got a lot of providers, but this one in particular, we keep getting videos from. These results are incredible. And so for context for you guys who Gerald Morris is, Dr. Gerald Morris is he owns two practices in Tucson, Arizona. He owns AMG Medical and then AMG Aesthetics with his wife, who's also a doctor. They're both co-owners together, and they run an amazing practice, two amazing practices together. And about a year ago, they decided to add StemWave's technology into their concierge medicine facility. And so what we're going to do today is really examine why he did that, what's worked so well for him, what hasn't worked, the highs, the lows, all that stuff. We're going to examine it. And then in the second half of the call, what we'll do is we'll take any questions from anybody who has them, just anything you want to know about, anything you want to learn about, or anything you're just like, how did he do that? What did he do? What did he not do? Whatever you got, we're here to answer it. And we want to thank you, first of all, Dr. Morris, for giving us your time. And with that introduction, we can jump right in. So I'd love to just start with, why don't you just take us back to, about a year ago, what your practice looked like prior to StemWave. What brings you to this point where you're running this practice? Give us the backstory here. Who are you?
Hi, Tom. Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone out there. So, we are, my wife and I are both board certified internists, originally from the Caribbean, migrated to the U.S. Just to kind of build a better life for ourselves and our family, and then we finished our residency in New Jersey, Seton Hall internal medicine program, and then we decided to move out west to Arizona, of all places, to kind of get a better quality of life, because we're living in New Jersey. It's a great town, a great state, but it's tough to live in. So being out here, we've been practicing medicine here in New Jersey. Here in Arizona for a little over a decade, and we were in the typical, insurance-based internist practice model, seeing 25, 30 patients a day, kind of doing that grind, which a lot of my fellow physicians know about if you're in primary care. And it got to a point, I would say 3 years ago, where we couldn't do it anymore at that pace. So we decided to change our model, and we did more of a membership concierge-based model, just because we just wanted more time. We really wanted more time with our patients. And for me, it was the constant fear of not being able to get to that one thing because of a lack of time that a patient needed me to get to, and it, snowballing into a major health crisis down the line. So we decided, we're not going to do this anymore. So we changed our full practice model to concierge about 3 years ago. And we've added a whole bunch of regenerative medicine therapeutics to our practice. This has afforded us the time to be able to do more reading, more research, and honestly, more importantly, sit down with the patient and literally spend anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And some visits we have are 90 minutes long, where we just talk, go over, longevity medicine topics, go over, literally get to the root cause of what's going on with the patient, and give the patient that airtime to be able to fully express everything that they need. It's funny now I sit down in the room, I just sit back and I just ask the blank question, what's going on? And people just kind of let it all out. And you'd be surprised, within 15 minutes on average, they're done. As in, like, they say everything that's on their chest, and I'm still waiting for more. And they're like, oh, that's it. I'm like, okay, good, now let's start. And then we kind of break through and go through. With regards to our StemWave journey, so we were looking at this modality about a year ago. And, as typical physicians, you're always skeptical. You're like, this sounds too good to be true, because I watched all the videos. And funny enough, I was looking at, obviously, the StemWave as well as the competitor. And I was like, you know what? I don't know about this. It sounds too good to be true, because we do a lot of like joint-based therapies and peptide therapies in our practice as it is. And I was just like, this should work out pretty well, but still decided not to pull the trigger. It was kind of one of those where you engage in something and then you back off. You're like, maybe it was too good to be true. And then you fast forward to literally, I would say 2.5 months ago. And that's how slow some physicians are to pull the trigger on making big decisions, because we kind of want to wait and see. And then I got another communication from StemWave. Hey, this is what we're doing. Here's a couple more testimonials. I looked into it again, and at that point I was like, you know what? Let's try something, because in our practice we deal with a lot of chronic joint pain issues. A lot of osteoarthritis, a lot of inflammatory arthritis is like rheumatoid, and people who are post-surgery. And we wanted to give them something to help with the healing. We just got tired of seeing patients go through that big process of, let's just say, getting the joint replacement or being on the biologic or whatever it is that they were doing for their joint, and just not really getting the full efficacy of that particular course of treatment. So I think it was in late February, I think I reached out this year. Hey, let's do something. Hopped on a call again, and then I was like, okay, good. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this. And then I think I did my training. Everything went really quickly, because I'm the kind of person, once I'm excited about something and I build that momentum, I don't want to stop, because the moment you kill your momentum in anything you do, then it becomes lackluster, and then before you know it, you just dropped, a significant amount of money on something, and it's just sitting in the back of your office. And I have been there myself with other modalities for our practice where, we didn't give it the right, test and got stuck with it. So we officially launched our StemWave programs. I was talking to my practice manager, officially launched it in late third week in March of this year, officially. And that's after obviously months of just kind of putzing around in my head. And then fast forward to now, where we are, and it has been, I still am amazed by the response that patients get or clients get when they come in and they get their treatment. I don't know why, because I've read the data, I've read the studies that they were provided to me, even stuff I Googled myself or looked up myself on stuff they do in Europe, and it all seems like, okay, this can work. But when you actually physically experience it and you see what patients are telling you, and for me, it's a little bit of an added push, because I also have some joint stuff through sports injuries where my right medial meniscus is torn from skiing 3 years ago, and it's a chronic issue, and it's not bad enough to keep me from doing stuff, but it's bad enough where it's annoying me. So I was like, you know what, let me try it on my own knee. And then after the first session, I was like, okay, this is insane. Okay, my knee felt a ton better, and that lasted. So I put myself on a protocol. Then from weightlifting again, my right shoulder went out a little bit, and I have my team treating that. And and every time I do a treatment, it reminds me that, okay, this actually works. And in medicine, it's very difficult to find devices or modalities that work that quickly and are that cost effective, in my opinion, to the client. Because when we approach it, I always tell patients, when I sit down with them, hey, what do you want to do? What's your big yes, I want to do that we could potentially help you with? Because we have to set the expectation too, and once we do that right with the patients and they get that expectation, it's a win-win with having the StemWave as part of the arsenal that we have among all the things that we do for patients. So we're talking
let's talk about
from
that
March to now.
Yeah, let's talk about you mentioned so many good things in there that I want to explore and I want to understand more about. So you mentioned, even prior to StemWave, you guys already had, different therapies for people suffering from some sort of chronic or acute joint pain. Let's talk about what were those therapies that you had prior to StemWave?
So we actually do a lot of peptide therapy, and we also do a lot of orthobiologics using,
Okay.
PRP, stem cells, PRF, exosomes. So we do a lot of that, and that did give us some really good results. For the patients, that we treated, they love their results. But for me, I'm always that guy looking to add one more, because the analogy I give patients is, okay, when someone comes to me, Tom, with let's say a chronic knee thing, something that's been going on for a decade plus, I tell them this: we're treating the knee like a forest fire. The fire began 10 years ago. And because, let's just say, as we all do as human beings, we put things off, now it went from one tree to the entire 3,000 acres. And then they show up at my doorstep expecting me to out all 3,000 acres like this. I'm like, it's going to take time. And it's going to take, in my opinion, more than just one modality. We start off with one, and then we can always tack on something else and tack on something else. So StemWave was kind of the icing on the cake for me to be able to have that little extra added help to calm down what the joint condition is that these patients come in with.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I want to understand more about, you were using peptides, orthobiologic.
Yeah.
Like, what are the circumstances like now? Do you still use those?
So we still use those. But what I find is I have the StemWave as kind of my flagship. So it's kind of taken the place of going quickly to doing those, and that has helped me to be able to offer more to the clients. So when I build a plan, it's a treatment plan. It's an actual, here's a course of things that I want to do, A, B, and C. Let's start off with A and see how you do. And then we can do B if we need to, and we can do C. Now, ironically, we were able to do a lot less of the orthobiologic stuff, which, I mean, I'm a procedure guy. I love doing procedures. But for me, it was like, okay, good. If the client can get bang for buck doing this, and then at the end of it, we just put them on a maintenance program and they're good, I'm okay with that. I'm good, because what happens is you get that goodwill and that word of mouth, because then they go tell their friends, hey, you know what? I was staring down the barrel of a gun of doing this, and now I'm feeling so much better, and that's kind of been how we've positioned it. It's now become more of my flagship approach to like the chronic arthritis and the chronic joint pains, and even for the couple patients who I'm treating their neuropathy, it's kind of taken that place.
How do you feel like now? Like, it's not that it's, so what I'm hearing is not that it's put these things to the side. They're of course still there, and you're still providing a great standard of care with them. But now you have a flagship product. So how has that changed things for you mentally in the way that you approach your business and the way that you approach patients who are suffering from chronic pain?
So it's definitely given me, I would say, X-ray goggles, because now I'm seeing everyone, and when I see them, I analyze how they walk. I analyze, movements of shoulders a lot more intensely, because in my head I'm thinking, holy crap, you could definitely benefit from using the StemWave, just based on the anatomy, based on the pathophysiology of what they have going on. So it's kind of made me a little bit more, I want to say, hyper aware of the potential benefits of the potential patients I can actually help. So it makes me a lot more excited to be able to have something to offer to these clients, as in like, hey, you really should try this. Get your mapping session done with me, and then we'll see. And what I love about the StemWave itself is itself. You do a mapping session, you do it correctly, and the trainer that have through school and through like the sessions in North Dakota and Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, sorry, it's they really show you how to do the mapping, very well to give the client the best bang for buck. So it is not much of a hard like a sell for me to have to be like a expert salesperson. I like my staff knows, once you get a mapping, you're gonna feel better. And for most patients, they want to know that it's there. It's that I feel better right now. I mean, it's not cured, but I feel better. Now they're like, okay, how can I keep this up? And then we have the conversation.
So let's talk about that, because
Mhm.
a lot of people here probably don't even know what mapping is, right? They might not know
Okay.
what mapping is or how it works or how that first visit. And so when you say you're doing mapping and you say it's easy to sign people up, why don't you walk us through that process? Why is it easy to sign people up? How does the mapping work?
So with us, the mapping session is basically anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes where I sit down with someone who has signed up for that particular session. And it's literally your first session with the actual StemWave, where we go through your concern. I narrow down what your pain point is. And I don't mean pain point meaning the joint alone. I mean what it's preventing you from doing. And figuring out, okay, where can we get you? I go over any kind of imaging that they may have or previous treatments, and really air out and get to know the client. And then we do a session right there. We do a session, and I have them always, show me what movements cause the most issue. So I have them like demo a squat or demo like a wall push-up or demo raising their arm up, if it's a shoulder issue. And then we do a treatment. Obviously, with mapping, you're looking for, I like to call them areas of hotspots, meaning while we're doing the treatment, we're looking for areas of inflammation and kind of guiding the patient to give us that biofeedback to let me know how you're doing. And we normally have patients try to stay with their discomfort level around 3 to 4, 3 to 5 out of 10. And once we find those, we actually have, like, each chart has tons of diagrams, and my staff and I, there's two of us in the room. While I'm doing it, they're writing off, on the chart where the most discomfort was during the actual treatment session, And after that, I tell them, all right, move it around, and they're like, oh, okay, wow, this feels, and I'm like, yeah, that's the beauty of it. The machine diagnoses and treats at the same time, with the, and I try not to get too sciencey with how it works, because most people don't really care about that. But you do get some patients who want to know, okay, what exactly is going on, and that's when we dive into mechanical transduction, and changing the signaling in the cells, and kind of, getting the cells to go back into that healing phase, within the joint, increasing blood flow, increasing nitric oxide. You kind of go into that for certain patients, but the majority of patients, they don't care about that. They are just happy that they can actually move again, or it doesn't feel as achy, or, oh my God, this feels great. And it's kind of where.
And how is that different from, of course, I know the answer to this, but for some people who might not, how is that different from like a peptide or orthobiologics? Like, how is that appointment completely different? Because they seem like two completely different visits that someone would have, right?
So the difference between the two is the time to see, in quote unquote, improvement. What the patient perceives or as improvement, meaning feeling better in that particular joint. With the orthobiologics, it's not right away. Usually it takes about a week or two, depending on what joint I'm treating and which biologic I'm using. For the peptides are cell signaling molecules, and those don't take right away. Those take a few weeks to begin to kick in. So the main difference I see is with that initial, okay, this feels better, and that kind of gets people more motivated to do stuff, to be able to keep the healing going. If you tell someone, oh, do it now, you'll feel better in 4 months, in 4 weeks. I mean, some people would be okay with that, depending on where they are in their pain journey or their chronic joint journey. But the majority of patients, they like to know that, okay, you did this today, and I'm actually feeling a little bit better today already. Then, just like, invest in compound interest. If I add on more sessions, or if I do a full package with you, a treatment plan, I'm going to get, even more improvement, which is true. So it's mainly a time. All the modalities I use work on the cell level.
Shortens. And then I guess in terms of, there's two things. There's, on one hand, it shortens the time necessary in order to get to the desired result, but also talk to us about the desired result that you're seeing with the patients. Like, how different is it from, orthobiologics and peptides to just StemWave itself? Like, how good are these outcomes that you've seen in your own office?
Oh, excellent. The outcomes have been tremendous, and I have to always remind myself that it's not about what I want to see, but what the patient wants to experience. So there's some patients where literally, like, when I record their like range of motion, it, to me, it doesn't seem like a lot in terms of the improvement, but to them, they are just ecstatic, over the moon. I mean, there's this one nice little lady that we have who, she just to give an example, she's had a frozen shoulder for 3 years, and orthopods have been telling her, you need surgery, but she's like in her mid-70s, loves to travel, and she does not want to do, I think they were telling her to do, was it a partial shoulder replacement, or either that or a reverse, I'm not quite sure which one, and she wouldn't do it. And then they offered her steroid injections, and she didn't want to do it. So she came to see me, and I mean, I kid you not, when she raised her arm, she could get to here. That's it. So she would go here, and she said she'd have to lean back to be able to get like things in the top of her, I guess, her pantry. And she's been doing that for years just because she didn't want to do anything else. And the joke she made when she came to me is that, Dr. Moore, I just want to put my hands up for TSA when I go and travel. I was like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, I want to put my hands up for TSA when they tell me to raise my hands, because I tell them I can't do it and they keep yelling at me. So that was her running joke with me when we first began. And she is now on she finished her 10th session, and she was able to go from here, like when she raised it, to now she's up to here. And that's on her own, just up to here. Wow. with the StemWave. And like, I'm a greedy guy, so I'm pretty aggressive. So I wanted to go all the way up, but just getting her to here has made the world of difference. She is over the moon happy. She's like, oh my God, look at my arm. It can go up now. This feels so good. And I'm like, yeah, that's just the power of it. So now, funny enough, she's tapped on for another treatment plan with me because she wants to see if she can get it even further. And now we're adding in some extra strength training sessions, and she's traveling. She can get her arms up for TSA, which was her big thing. But yeah. But it's,
and how rare would you
been,
say that is? Like, do you have other cases like that?
Oh yeah. We have wins. There, out of everyone that we have done a mapping session with, I think, which is maybe like 97% saw improvement in the current condition, in whatever it was they were treating, whether it was a shoulder, an elbow, a knee, they saw improvement. I would say, and that's
how
that's
large is that sample size of people?
I have mapped close to 100.
Wow.
About that. So about that.
So to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, you've seen about 100 people. Of those 100 people who went in the mapping session, about 97% of them saw some sort of improvement.
So some improvement, yeah. Whether it's range of motion, or the big ones are range of motion, and obviously reduction in discomfort in the joint.
Okay, and
that's how we measure it.
For context, for everybody here, Dr. Morris doesn't have any, public communication or sales background. You can see he's, a doctor by trade. What percentage of them converted into care with you and said, you know what, I'd really like to continue? Like, was that an easier conversation for you?
So it was an easier conversation once they saw that improvement. And for a lot of them, I know, well, now we're in Tucson, so they're moving into the summertime, so they're traveling. So a few of them were like, oh, when I come back. And I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, But like, I would say out of that, maybe, I have to get my staff's numbers and that. The ones who actually committed to plans, we were talking about 85% of them were like, yes, wow, I want to do this. Others were like, yeah, I want to do it, but like they had other things going on in terms of travel, or they had like other plans for, I guess, the instead of paying for this, they wanted to see, okay, I still want to finish my physical therapy with my specialist, which is fine. I'm like, no, you keep doing everything you're doing. We can work alongside that, but they kind of wanted to just see exactly where they were.
So of the 100 people who came in, 97% of them got some sort of improvement.
So
And
improvement, yep.
85 were like, hey,
I
wanna
would say
come in for another
85%
visit.
of them, yes. At least they came in for another visit for sure because they wanted to test drive it again. But the majority of them, I would say, got a care plan right away.
That's amazing. And you said you've only had this since how long?
I'll say third week in March.
Okay. So where did these people come from?
Well, we have, obviously, we did our stuff through our warm outreach, which is patients that are currently in our pool of clientele. So we had email marketing going out. We do a lot of stuff on social media. Like my social media director.
Yeah, you're a social media star. Our team loves your videos.
Yeah. So we actually, so most of what you see is a combination of her vision and my vision. We kind of put our heads together, and we kind of want to make the social media a lot more educational, at the same time entertaining. You know, it's good to have a good laugh, but I mean, we do want people to understand that there is something out there, you know, and what exactly is going on with the joint, or whichever joint we're treating or whichever joint we're focusing on, and there's stuff you can do. There is stuff you can do to be able to help improve.
Yeah,
you know.
I noticed that you have two types of content. Or really three types. You have highly educational content where you're really explaining something in depth. You have really, really funny content where you're getting people to laugh and engage with you as a medical professional. And then you're kind of just posting the wins, the things that are happening in your office.
Yeah.
Would it be okay?
And that's kind of the strategy,
if I shared one? So I can show some of the
people. Oh yeah.
I think
yes, that's perfectly fine.
All right, let me get one up real quick. I promise I won't embarrass you. Okay.
All right, no worries.
All right, I'll show.
I embarrass myself enough as it is. I'm good.
Yeah, you're all good. I'm gonna show just a quick one. So let me see if I can do this. Let's see.
Hey, what's up, family? Let's continue our conversation on joint pain and my favorite device, the StemWave device. So this is quickly how it works. So StemWave actually is awesome technology that helps to harmlessly reduce pain by activating natural healing. So as you can see from this slide up there, so that actually.
And so this is obviously for patients, but I'm going to show one more funny one. I'm going to show a funny one because that was just a warm up. This is. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. All right. You know exactly which one I'm talking about.
I'm a bit worried. People of Earth, calm down, everyone. I'm very excited. We have the solution to your joint pain. It's StemWave. Come see us. People of Earth, come to us. We got you.
It's incredible, and our team has loved seeing this content every week. And it seems like maybe your patients have also liked it because you've obviously got 85 people who've come in and signed up for care. So you're doing great.
Oh yes. Yeah. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And we just keep trying to create more and more of the content and outreach, and now we're gonna the next phase in our actual outreach is gonna be to local gyms and retirement community. It's kind of different groups we're just trying to tap into to let them know, because it's funny that I would think that a lot more specialists would know what this particular technology is, but it's kind of underrepresented in the medical community. Most of the docs I talk to still don't know about it, which is fair because I didn't know about it until a year ago. I didn't know about it, and even then, I still didn't buy in until this year, fully buy in. So our goal with my marketing is to get the word out, so people understand what it is, and I'm hoping that we can make a difference in a lot of people's lives, just to get them feeling better, living better, having a better quality of life is, for me, extremely important.
So I think that's a wonderful goal, and I think you're undoubtedly achieving it. Shifting gears here, we've got in the second half of this call, we'll answer some live questions. So for anybody here whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Zoom, or you're seeing the stream somewhere else, what you can do is you can literally just drop the question. You can shoot the question in the chat. If you're in Facebook, again, you can just shoot it right in the chat. If you're in Zoom, you can shoot it right in the chat. But I've got a couple queued up that already came in that I'd love to get answered. So I have one from a doctor out of New York. He says, I do injections right now. I don't know what injections he's talking about. And I'd like to understand how this is priced differently than injections. How do you price StemWave?
So our current StemWave pricing is, we kind of have three separate pricings based on the area of the body we're treating. So small joint, medium joint, large joint, and that's to keep it simple, and it's a 10 session package. And for us, I know each particular zip code has a different expectation when it comes to how much client's going to spend. But for us, we kind of have it priced at $1597, $1797, $1997. So, and that's for the full 10 suite. Now, my orthobiologic stuff, I'm guessing what that doctor's talking about is the actual stem cell injections, because the steroid injections are the ones that are covered by insurance, which I don't think he's talking about that. But yeah, for those, that's a separate price altogether. So our stem cell shots start from $24.50 in Tucson, and that's for me and in my practice. And it all depends on what the patient wants to achieve, because I adjust it based on when I get a look at the anatomy and look at the imaging, and I tell them, okay, here's what's going on based on what I've seen. I'm recommending X. So it's kind of one of those. And so that's how we separate the two out. And of course, we do custom pricing. If someone wants to do both StemWave and the stem cell shot, we do take a percentage off, just so that it's a little easier on the wallet. Because I'm not trying to break people's wallets. I have some people to feel better, because guess what? If they feel better and they can afford it, and it's not breaking the bank, they're gonna come back and they're gonna tell their friends. Mm-hmm. So it's for me, that's a win-win.
What about if someone comes in with multiple areas?
So typically with StemWave, I don't do more than 2 areas at a time, just because you're putting waves in the body, and the body can only handle so much. I know people think, oh, but it's only going to be the knee. Yeah, but if someone comes in, let's say with a knee, elbow, and a shoulder, and they want all 3 done at the same time, for me, that's a lot to be able to give them those waves in each of those joints. You could end up with more of a rebound situation of, now they have a slightly more increased pain afterwards, and they're down for 2 or 3 or 4 days, and that's not the goal of what I'm trying to do. So for those patients, I tell them, okay, you know what, we can lock in the pricing for the 3, but I'm only going to work on 2 max. A reason being is, if let's say you treat 3 joints and you make 2 feel better, but you make 1 feel worse, they're not going to remember the 2 that feel better. They're going to remember the 1 that you made feel worse. So for me, it's about focusing their attention on the wins that they can get. So yeah, we can treat all 3. We actually had one lady who came in. She wanted both knees and her ankle. And I said, you know what? I'll do 1 knee and 1 ankle for now, and let's just see how it goes. And for that particular client, we only sold her the package for the 2. And I told her, you know what? After you're done with this, then we can talk about the other one. And she's halfway through her treatment plan. Ankle feels much better. She's hiking again. The knee feels great. And now she keeps asking my staff, so when can we get started on the other knee? And my staff said, well, you know what? Let's just finish the plan first, and then we can definitely take care of the other knee, that way. But just doing that, she was able to recognize, okay, it is feeling better compared to the one that they haven't began on yet. And that's what.
How often would you say how often would you say that's the case? Like, if someone comes in, these 85 patients who are getting care from you right now, how often are they on 1 area versus 2 areas versus desiring 3 areas? Give us a lay of the land there.
So only the majority of them are 1. The majority of them are 1 areas. We have a few, I would say, about 4 or 5 are doing 2 areas. And like I said, the 3 areas, we don't have anybody actively doing 3 right now. I kind of want to
Okay.
keep it simple, just so that, especially, since this is our first 90 days of having the actual device, I was like, let's just keep it
Yep.
simple. I'm not trying to
Keep it simple.
to do too much. Keep it simple. Let's just do one at a time. Because because the patients, they're locked in with me for 10 sessions. So, and I keep asking them, how's your joint feeling? And so we kind of have that kind of relationship building, as we're going through the process. So yeah, so we've had interest in 3, but I have not tried to even sell a 3, because I'm like, no, I tell them, no, let's just do 2. Let's just do 2.
Okay. So we're getting another question coming in from Neil, and Neil says, what would you treat and what do you not treat? So I can cover contraindications if necessary, by the way, but why don't you give an idea of what more of the areas that you more commonly see and that you feel really confident with?
So the areas that I think are big wins, actually huge wins for the StemWave, are going to be your shoulders, your knees, and like the wrist and hand. Those are going to be huge wins. One, they're simple joints. Everyone knows the knees are hinge joint. The shoulder is a bit more complex, rotator cuff twist, and then the wrist, obviously, tons of little bones. But I tell patients, and I'm sure the science will show you, the bread and butter for StemWave is osteoarthritis, knocking down that inflammation. Most people don't realize that. Everyone always says, "Oh, osteoarthritis is wear and tear." That's not actually the case. If you get down to the science or the cell biology and what's going on, there's a lot of inflammatory processes going on in an osteoarthritic joint. So if we can shut down that inflammation, that's good. So big wins for me have been knees and shoulders. Big wins. Elbows, definitely. Elbows are a close second. Okay. The tougher ones to treat are going to be your backs. Those are the tougher ones to treat. I would say like lower back. We have a few right now who are getting better. But when we do a mapping on a lower back or any kind of axial skeleton, I always tell them, don't expect to feel better right away, like how you do with a knee or shoulder. It's going to take a few days. Give it a couple days, see how you feel, and lo and behold, that's exactly what we've experienced, because, when they get off a table, initially they're like, well, the back still feels a little bit. I'm like, that's okay. Just take your time. Follow the instructions afterwards. No, like running up and down mountains or hiking. Just, rest for now and see how you feel. And what I've seen, at least in my practice, is anywhere from within like 2 to 5 days, I don't know, 2 to 5 treatment. That's when we follow up with them, and they're like, you know what, my neck is feeling a lot better. Oh, my back is feeling a lot better, and that's when we know. Okay, good. That's good to know. Now, when do you want to start? And then we have that conversation with them of what it entails, the follow-ups and all that kind of stuff. Would not treat. Well, StemWave itself is not approved to treat any kind of like soft tissue, like abdominal organ issues or anything else like that. So you kind of want to stay away from some of that stuff. Anything above like C3, C4 going up into the head and neck area, we don't typically treat. And to be honest, anyone coming with neck pain, it's usually the trapezius muscle that's kind of pissed off when they can't move. So we just kind of, if someone has that, we find the sore spots in the trap and kind of work that area, of the upper thoracic spine, basically. So we try not to go above C3, C4. That's not a place where you want to live because you're putting waves in there. So we just want to kind of be very careful. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and those are, there are contraindications. It should be noted this is a non-significant risk factor technology, meaning it's not generally a dangerous technology, but the contraindications with StemWave are exactly what you'd expect it to be. Like we don't use this over an active tumor. We don't use this over fetal tissue. There are just highly common and intuitive contraindications, but nothing that's like really weird that you never know. So yeah, with that in mind, and another question coming in is they want to know more about what you're doing for marketing, even if it's internal. Tell us what's happening there. You said emails are going out. Like, what is that? Emails are going out. You're doing social media. Talk to us more about that.
So we have the emails. I know we are working with the StemWave company. I think they have a Go High Level account we have with you guys. And that's where we dump all our contact information from both of our practices, and then the emails go out from there. And then the patients call us back and say, "Hey, I got your email about this, and I want to give it a try," and then we have a special pricing on our mapping sessions, which is part of it. But I would say the big thing is messaging. No one bites on the first go. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say no one. Very few people bite on the first go. It does take a second, third, fourth, and we always try to change up our messaging when we send it, so it's not the same email every single time. This email is going to be more based on the science. The next one's based on a patient win. The next one is based on some data about joint issues. So we're building our marketing around kind of giving more of that educational piece, as well as providing, hey, this is what you could benefit from if you take a chance. And then we have specials every now and then, like Mother's Day. We actually, funny enough, we have an event tonight at a local gym here in Tucson, where we're going to just kind of talk about the actual StemWave and the different treatment modalities that different joints we can treat with it. So we have that tonight, and we do plan on doing more outreach.
Tell me about that. I'm curious about that. Mm-hmm. Like, how is that working? You're coming to this gym. All the members are just going to get there and listen to you. Like, what are you telling them about?
So what we're going to do, we're going to bring the actual the hero video that StemWave has provided us with, which is basically, it's pretty cool. It's one that I have playing in my waiting room all the time, and that's one thing too. We have TVs all throughout my office. We have tons of TVs, and the TVs in my office typically play like relaxing things. We don't play news, we don't play sports, just kind of like underwater scenery. But the one in the main lobby, it's a big one that we just have the StemWave on loop, and that kind of gets the conversation going, because then they ask you, "What's that STEM thing?" I'm like, "Oh, let's talk." And then it takes about 5 minutes for me to tell them, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we do. Here's why I'm doing it. Based on your condition, you would benefit." Or if they have no reason to do it, they say, "You're not a candidate for it right now," which is good. So keep protecting your joints, stay active, and that kind of stuff. And then they ask, "What about my dad? What about my sister?" I'm like, "Yeah, they can come in too. Not a big deal. Just give them the info and get them in." But the gym tonight is basically me showing up. We're going to give them the hero video. They'll play it in the TVs in the gym, and I'm just going to be talking to them about joint injuries in the gym, stuff that I have suffered with. It's myself, my practice manager, and one of my techs. We're going to go and just kind of answer cues, and then we have created specials around tonight for the gym goers, in terms of special pricing on the packaging if they decide to get the mapping and whatnot. So you just have to go. You never know how it's going to go. You just show up, do your best, and honestly, just see if someone bites. If you believe.
I think there's no doubt in anybody's mind here that you're going to do just fine tonight. But I think you're kind of bringing up a really exciting point about the technology, which is most medical practices that we work with, there are physical therapy offices, there are pain management offices, there are concierge doctors like yourself, there are chiropractic offices. But most of these offices, they work with a very select demographic of patients. And what StemWave does, the unique thing that StemWave does, is it allows a doctor like Dr. Morris to apply to and work with such a wide demographic of patients. Now, he can walk into a gym, right? What is a gym comprised of? Different people from all different walks of life who may or may not be struggling with some sort of chronic or acute, generally an extremity-based musculoskeletal condition. And now he can serve those people. And so most offices, they end up going from, serving maybe 5% or 10% or 15% of the population to 3 out of 4 people in your local grocery line who are standing a little awkwardly or have a cane, or you recognize that they have, something on their hand or their arm or their ankle or whatever it is. And so that's the main difference. And I think it's just an important highlight. And it's so exciting to see you out there doing that. A question?
I think for us as doctors or anyone who's in the specialist space, I think we're kind of afraid to be seen starting small. So especially if it's something new, if your clients know you for one thing, now you're doing this other thing, I mean, a lot of us, and I mean, I've struggled with that too, where, I'm like, should I even be doing this? I mean, what would they think? And it got to a point where I was like, I don't care what they think. It works. The technology works. It's very difficult to find, at least in my space and my experience, something that works as well for that particular type of chronic condition than StemWave. It's very difficult. And that's the thing. Once it works, it's much easier for me to talk about it, for me to get engaged about it with other people, and to bring it up to people, who don't know me or even go on my social media. I mean, I've been more active on my social media in the last 3 months because of StemWave and what I have seen it do. And I'm like, I got to get the word out, and the videos you see is stuff that I do because I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is going to engage. It's going to get people talking about it and asking questions and get things going. I mean, I have never done this much activity on my social media before having this device. Yeah. And that's even with me having all the other modalities we've had.
It's also easy for, this isn't a procedure in which somebody says, I got to really, really consider this. This is going to be a big deal for me to come in. This isn't some, operation. It's not invasive. This is something you get to come in and try.
There's no downtime. There's no downtime. You can test drive it in a mapping session. No obligation to buy. You can, and that's the beauty of it. You can test drive it. You can't test drive a steroid shot. You can't test drive a joint surgery. You can't. But this one you can test drive and you can see for yourself if it's something that you want to do. And then once you realize that I do feel better, now the ball's in your court. How much longer do you want to feel better for? What's worth to you? Do you want to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle, when she's finally ready to get married? Do you want to be able to hike in Europe because you're planning that trip next year and your knees is horrible? Do you want to do the Tour de Tucson, which is a bike race we have in Tucson every November, but your knee's been killing you for the last 3 months? This is the thing. Do you want to continue to go to the gym, go for walks? That's where it becomes, what do you want to do?
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I think that's totally true. As we're wrapping up here, I have a few last questions for you, which are, a lot of people who are coming to the live call, wherever they are in the world, they're obviously looking into this technology, not only for themselves, because they might be suffering from something, but they're looking into it for their patients. And the main things that we see holding anyone back from getting access to this technology are the nerves. Is it going to work for me? Is it going to work for my patient? Sure, Dr. Morris can make this happen, but he's a successful, handsome guy from Tucson, Arizona. He makes it all work. Like, is it really easy? Is it really doable? Is it all worth it? And I guess I'll just ask, what would you give as advice for somebody who's kind of excited and highly interested and knows they need it for their patient, but is worried about the cost and the implementation of all of this?
I would say check it out. Literally find someone close by or who has it. Go get it done for yourself. I mean, there's not many of us over the age of 35 that doesn't have at least one joint that's hurting us. Let's be real. I mean, we all have something that we may have tweaked it here, twisted this here, fall off this thing here, there. So try it out for yourself, and talk to other doctors or other providers who are using the modality, even if it's not in your state, in different states, and see exactly what they think. I mean, before I got it, I spoke to, I think, 4 or 5 different practitioners just to kind of make sure. I mean, and they were not on any payroll for StemWave. They were literally private calls I made. I got their information from one of the account managers that was getting me set up. Before I thought, I need to talk to someone who is not StemWave, someone who's been using it. I need to speak to someone to see. So we exchanged cell phone numbers. I had video calls with a couple of them, and they said yes, they have been doing it and they're seeing successes. They talked about some of the mistakes that they made in the beginning that they have tweaked to get things better, but I asked them straight up, hey, what's working and what's not working with this thing, and by and large, the working was way out there. It was above and beyond. The not working, what I could tell you, is from more of the provider themselves, probably not giving it the proper go around and the proper marketing and the proper advertising and the proper, training themselves on, or training their staff on how to sell it. That's the majority of what it is. I haven't heard anyone say, oh, I treated someone, who had a typical condition that could be fixed and they got no benefit. Never heard that.
Yeah.
Never heard that. So my advice to those who are on the fence is to kind of, I would say, find some place where you can actually go and maybe get it done to yourself. And then you can see, exactly how it is. Because it's a huge investment, yes, but you have to think long term. Because we spend money on stuff all the time that we think is going to give us a good ROI for our practice, and doesn't pan out. I mean, I've been down that road too, but this is the one thing that, I would say, the only thing in the last decade that I have bought that actually, when my patients or my clients get it done, that they are literally happy. And even for my own self, for my own joint stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It still amazes me how well it works, and because of it, it has me reading more into the science, wanting to understand more of how it works, but yeah, that's my big advice.
I think that's great
take
advice.
A try, go and find a place.
I think that's great advice. And I think the important note here that, I've had the privilege of working with over 350 private practices at this point. And so I would have had to have been an idiot to not recognize some patterns and understand what works for some practices and what doesn't work for other practices. And the thing that I've noticed most commonly is whether you have StemWave or whether you don't have StemWave, it's probably going to cost more to not have StemWave. And the reason for that is there's so many patients in your community and there's so many patients in your office that are desiring this type of care. And by not providing it, you end up losing revenue, you end up losing money, you end up losing opportunities and lives that you could have changed and that you could have transformed by not thinking big enough, by not taking the leap that you should have taken. And so if you're sitting on the edge of your seat thinking to yourself, is it the right thing to do? Should I speak to StemWave again? Maybe I should try it, whatever it might be. We've worked with 350 offices and we've had a 97% success rate at this point. I'm happy to say that Dr. Morris is within that 97% success rate. And the way we measure that is by clinical and financial outcome, meaning they love the technology and they loved our team. And so for anybody who's looking to get started with it, we allow most offices to get started at $0 down. You can try it. If you don't love it after 60 days, we will happily come and pick it up at no cost to you. If you spend any money on anything at all, we will happily reimburse it. We don't want anybody to be unhappy with our technology. We stand by that happiness-based satisfaction guarantee. So if that's exciting for you and you'd like to learn more about it, you can go to StemWave.com and just book a call with us. And yeah.
And Tom, that was the hook that finally got me to say, okay, I'm gonna try it, because that alone. Because in my head, okay, so instead of me sinking 5 figures right off the bat, you're gonna give me 60 days. I think I may have asked the account manager like 5 or 6 times on the same call. So you guys can come back and pick it up, right? You guys come back and pick it up, right? You're sure you're going to pick it up, right? No, I want it written that you're going to pick it up, right? And It was so funny. They kept saying, yes, no, Dr. Morris, yeah, if it doesn't work, if you don't think it fits in with your practice, you don't like it, it doesn't work for you, we will come back and pick it up. No, I'm like, so you're going to pick it up, right? I kept asking them because I wanted to make sure that stuck. Yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, okay. And yeah.
It's the thing. People don't believe it. And I had somebody ask me earlier this week, they ended up on the phone with me somehow through call. And they're like, listen, I will buy the technology, but only if you put in your agreement that if I don't love it, you guys will take it back. And I told them, I said, I would be happy to adjust our agreement, but just so you know, that's in every single one of our agreements. So it's okay. It's all good. If you want to try it, you can. There's no difference. We don't need to make it. We'd love to help your patients in your community. So on that note, Dr. Morris, I I couldn't share how much I appreciate you making an hour for everybody who's here. Your information and your experience with the technology, just the short time that you've had it, has been incredibly impactful for us, our team, and everybody here. And I just want to thank you for that, and thank you for making time to share that with everybody. And we hope you and your family and your patients continue to do as well as you guys are doing. So thank you.
No worries, no worries. And I'm just gonna put my Instagram so people can at least see examples of stuff I do. So if they want to check it out,
yes, let me drop it in the chat for you. If you guys like that video, by the way, there's a lot more videos just like that Dr. Morris is posting every single week. So let me drop it right in the chat for everybody. There we are. Yep, he just dropped his name, and then there's also a direct link. If you're seeing this in the Facebook chat as well, what I'll do is I'll comment the Instagram handle directly on the Facebook, so you can click it, find it, and go follow him on Instagram. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the flip side. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you guys so much for attending.
Yes, happy to help. Guys, give it a try, man. I mean, you got nothing to lose. I'm all about, I need to be able to get out of this when I want to get out of it. And I am never getting out of this one.
Can't get out now.
My patience.
It's too late now.
Nope, I wouldn't want to. Wouldn't want to.
Yes. All right. Thank you.